them?
They've done a lot. They've done quite a bit on offense. We're expecting a lot of different personnel groups. And formationally, they're going to do some unique things every game in an attempt to try to get the best matchups and line you up a little bit in some of your base defensive looks.
Arkansas's got a huge offensive line, have had for years. How do you just go about combating that?
Well, I like our size up front. I think that's one of the strengths is we do have, we do have good depth with size up front. But they've done a nice job. They're a little bit of a kind of a maul-in group where they're going to get on you and they're going to play physical. It's going to be a grimy game on both sides of the ball, offense, defensive line. It's going to be a physical test for us to play the duration.
As a new defensive coordinator, how much have you kind of relied on the seniors in this group, and how much have they kind of responded to you and kind of helped you out?
Well, I think every time you're looking for the players with experience, the players with, I guess, the ear of the locker room. So I think any program, if you're new, if you've been there for a long time, I think that's kind of the life cycle of a football program, is the guys that have the experience, the guys that have been around, having better and greater influence than the guys that are new to the program.
I know obviously you had your own senior day at one point, but you've been around guys every year who are playing their last game at home. Once the game starts, you focus on that, but in the lead up to it, in those moments, what's it like for them? What are the things going through their heads?
Yeah, I think there's probably, or not probably, I know there's a lot of retrospect. It's and like most things that come to an end, you never think they're going to come to an end for them. And I think there's growth, there's development. But I would say that even on a senior day, there's the perspective that you're still in the moment. I think senior day gains more, more power the further you get away from it. I think you're so in the moment. I think in their youth, they don't have the perspective of what they've gone through because they're still in the middle of it.
Seems like the defense the last few weeks has kind of just been like a roller coaster ride, some good, some bad. And is that just kind of how it is with a young team, sort of part of the process?
Last few weeks? It's about the development. It's about the development. And as leaders, as coaches, we just got to keep pushing forward and keep striving and keep communicating what our expectations are, what the expectations are in terms of effort, what the expectations are in terms of, how we execute. You have effort and you have execution. Neither one of them can live by themselves. It has to be a combination. And we just got to keep working on that like we do a lot of things, in terms of some of the schematic things and the execution of what we do defensively. And then it becomes the implementation of what we see on the practice field, what we prepare for, and then ultimately when we get that play in the game that we've prepared for, we need to be able to put that and translate our preparation into when it matters.
When looking back, 10 games now, kind of a benchmark, so to speak, what do you take from the process of joining 4 new individual defensive coaches and trying to morphing them into one?
It's a challenge. Keelan's funny. I think anytime you get a group of men together, it's a challenge. And it's challenge not in a negative way, but just how fast you can assimilate. And after you've gone through some of the processes and you understand, and it's not only the 4 of us getting together, it's 4 of us joining, Coach Mullen and the way that things are done. And there's that learning process. I know just me individually, it's taken me 4 or 5 weeks to kind of understand what the practice schedule is going to look like, what Friday's walkthrough is going to look like, what Saturday, what we kick off Saturday evening. I know what Saturday morning looks like in the walkthroughs, and when we come over here, and as how we prepare as a team, and then just the continuity of, hey, it's Sunday night, we're going through first and second down. It's Monday afternoon, we're getting prepared for third down, and just some of the logistics of what everyone's bringing to the table.
Is this the biggest challenge you face as a coach?
Yeah, it probably is, because it's there's more responsibility, there's more of a leadership role. So it's not only is it the position that you're developing and recruiting, but it's also the defense as a whole. And like Mike was saying, is bringing a group of we have 3 full-time new, and then the support staff. So we have 7 new people that have never worked together. So it takes time to understand how we're going to do the breakdown, what we're going to call plays, what we're going to call formations, how we're going to do the scouting report. So all those things take time, and let's keep working, keep getting better.
Do you feel like you're kind of a well-oiled machine now? And if so, when do you think that kind of started to happen?
I don't know if we're a well-oiled machine. I mean, it's, I think in terms of the pattern on how we're working, we're good. But, you know, it's the challenge of we don't have the, you know, you don't have the background on, hey, we played Arkansas last year and this is how it happened. And you don't have the familiarity with, you know, hey, we're going against this coordinator. We've done this for 3 years. This was his counter. You know, this was the tempo of the game. This was the environment. So there's all those things that when you're around somewhere, you get a better feel. You know, A&M, I had a better feel for A&M because it was Mazzoni, because we played them 2 years at SC. So it's, you know, it was the third year that actually prior to that, because I played them when we were in Washington. So it was up to my, you know, fourth or fifth year playing against that style of offense. So there was greater comfort, and you know, I kind of felt a pretty good idea of how the game was going to play out and what their adjustments could be.
You know, right now the defense is ranked last against the pass in the SEC. Got two teams coming up that like to throw the ball. How do you kind of shore up some of those issues in the secondary of these last couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, we're just continue to work and you know, try to get us in the best spacing for the route concepts they give us, and you know, in terms of the individual development, we got to just keep getting them better and do everything as a coaching staff to put them in the best situations in terms of leverage, in terms of eye control, to play their top concepts. And then from there, it's the execution component.
Are you seeing improvements in the secondary here and there, you know, throughout the years as it's kind of progressed?
And we've seen some improvement. You know, it's I think some of the fundamentals we've seen have improved. It was you know, the group of guys that got a significant amount of reps early in the season. You know, I don't know if we were prepared for them to get as many. I don't know if they were as prepared for them to get as many with I think with Lando and Said going down. I think within, you know, I don't know if it's 7-10 days of each other, it really accelerated their development. And you know, to their credit, they've battled their tails off, and they've done what we've asked them to do. It just might have come a little bit faster than they were ready for.
Dan's talked a lot this year about just the comfort of the offensive staff because they've been together for so long. What's it like for the 4 new defensive and I guess 7 new defensive faces during a game? How do you try to get on the same page when there's so much happening?
You know, game day, that hasn't been a big issue. I think everyone kind of understands their role and what they're looking at. We're very defined on the information that everyone's responsible for, and how we disseminate that. So that's been pretty seamless. You know, that's, to me, no matter where you go, there's a chain of command of how that information gets communicated. So I think that's probably a little cleaner. You know, I would imagine. All the places I've been have been very similar to how the game day operation works. So I think it's more in the building where the continuity needs to be developed.